What can go wrong in a medical device? Think about it. You know, not all the devices are safe. A lot of devices can have flaws, failures, design issues. A lot of these issues cause problems in the diagnosis or in the patients. So let's say potential failure modes and effects. And remember, this is an introduction, so we are going to see why we need a quality management system. First, we're talking about what is a medical device. Second, what can go wrong in a medical device if we don't pay attention to the quality, to the way the product is designed, manufactured. So patient contact materials, for example, can cause skin irritation. A lot of people are sensitive to latex. So um, the materials that can contact a patient, if they are not evaluated on the biocompatibility standards, then when they apply it to the patient, there might be some patients that can experiment or be sensitive to the materials of the probe or the electrode or whatever is in contact with the patient. And in that case, it could cause, allergic reactions, skin irritation, sensitization, or it could cause cytotoxicity. Imagine, for example, a dental implant that is made of a material that is corrosive. So once you put it in your mouth, you start chewing, let's say the doctor, the dentist does an implant on you, and then you're happy about it. But a few days later, if this material is not biocompatible or if it's not being treated, anodized, then the material starts to degrade, and that causes irritation in your gums and so forth. So the contact materials can cause skin irritation. So this is something that when people design products, they need to take into account patient contact materials. Why? Skin irritation, cytotoxicity. And this is part of the quality management system to ensure that all of these kind of things are reviewed, analyzed, and through a risk management process. For example, construction materials. Um, we have a lab in here, and then we last year we were doing some electrical testing of it's like a therapy bed, and then we saw that the materials may cause, the construction materials of that bed are flammable. So people need to be careful about, if the materials that are of construction of the products are flammable at risk. So those kind of understandings come from the supplier. The supplier has to say, hey, we analyze the material is safe, we have the safety material data sheet, and that shows that this material is not flammable. So you have to analyze construction materials. So people, when they design a system, they need to make sure that the construction materials are not flammable. Also, electrical design and construction, because of there is a risk of electrical shock. So any type of electrical or medical electrical system or a medical device that has electricity on it, it has a risk of electrical shock. So when people design the systems, they need to make sure that they minimize this risk, um, adding some isolation, some things in the design, so to prevent or minimize the risk of a high electrical current on the patient, because that can cause electrical shock. Also, there is another potential failure mode, which is having non-qualified suppliers. And the problem when we work with suppliers, component suppliers, is that if they don't have a good quality management system, they have issues supplying their components on time with the same specifications. So they might change the specifications and probably don't tell the client. So there is a high risk of using non-qualified suppliers if they don't have a quality management system that they can supply components with having issues, because they don't document, they don't follow procedures. So let's say, for example, an electronic component, they can change the specifications and send you different components with different specifications. And then in your design, in the electrical design, is going to have issues. It's not going to behave the same. Also, employee qualifications and training. When manufacturing companies hire somebody, if they don't really are trained on the quality management system and the procedures, they are not going to be qualified to do the work. And that can bring instability, lack of reliability, and employee that is not being trained can make things in the wrong way. So we need to spend time and resources to properly train employees. A lot of cases, people make mistakes. So you have to reduce the amount of mistakes people do by training, by following up with the employee, supervising the employee, making sure that the employee is trained, if it is in the manufacturing floor, that the people follow instructions of the quality management system. Also, another area where we can have potential failure modes and effects in the indications for use or the labeling or the user's manual for the product. And that happens and can cause not clear or misleading instruction that can cause usability errors. If a user's manual for a medical device has errors, then people are going to use it in a way that can cause damage to the patient or damage to the operator or anything like that. So we have to make sure in the quality management system that the instructions, the labeling, everything related to alert the user of potential problems is clearly stated. We need to make sure that the labels are correctly used. Also, another area is the efficient manufacturing infrastructure. I had clients in the past that they do the assembly like in almost literally in the kitchen of their house because they don't care. And that causes problems because if you don't have the infrastructure or the place clean, organized, or with the proper environmental conditions, when you are going to assemble the products or you are going to construct your product, that's going to cause, you know, uh, not clean environment. We're going to cause variations, are going to cause flaws in the system and issues. I remember, and I always tell this story that I had with a nutritional company that I was, you know, consulting for. I was a consultant for regulatory, and I was doing an audit of the quality management system. They were putting medication and nutritionals in bottles, and that this was in Orlando, Florida. And when I went into the production area where they were doing the bottling, I saw a big dog, hairy dog, and those kind of dogs that they release a lot of hair. So I told them that, they needed to prevent the dog from going into production areas. And they got mad at me because they said that wasn't possible. The dog was part of the family. And what I had to do was cancel my involvement with these people because they were not following my advice. And that can cause a problem, if they are putting medications and let's say some hair of this dog goes into the bottle, and then somebody is going to use it that is allergic to dog's hair, that is going to cause an allergic reaction. About 2 months ago, also, I went to an audit, an FDA audit in a place in Detroit, and then they were doing, or they are doing stimulators. And what happens is that also they had a dog and these stimulators they use like a fabric to cover, let's say, the leg or the arm. It's part of the stimulation system. And I told them, immediately get rid of this dog. Why you have dog walking in production areas? That hair is going to fall into the fabric that the patients are going to use, and it's going to cause allergic reactions. But this time they did follow my advice. Other problems that can happen in a manufacturing environment is that when they have problems with the measurement equipment, maybe it's not well calibrated, maybe it's out of calibration, maybe it's broken, excuse me, and that can cause also incorrect readings. So we need to make sure that manufacturing companies have calibrated equipment, validated. Also, lack of work instructions and procedures. A lot of times this happens in any type of medical device operation that they don't have enough instructions or they don't follow instructions and procedures. And that's a big problem because people sometimes they like to use, they write instructions, but they don't follow the instructions. And that can cause issues with the reliability of the system, can cause issues with the design, with the manufacturing. Also, many manufacturing companies do not do risk analysis. All the medical devices, when they design a medical devices, they have to do a risk analysis, which is what can go wrong, what can cause injury on a patient. And that risk analysis is important because you can, analyze the potential failure modes, potential ways to injure a patient, and then develop mitigation strategies. The mitigation is, okay, we have this potential risk, but we are going to this mitigation. Could be better instructions, could be more testing, could be something that you do to the product. In terms, for example, in the food industry, also there are many ways to cause problems. Recently there have been some recalls of eggs here in the U.S. Last week, for example, I read that there was in South Florida there was a recall of ground beef because it was contaminated. So if people in the manufacturing companies, could be food, could be nutritional, could be cosmetics, could be pharmaceutical, could be medical device, if they don't have good controls on the manufacturing floor or in the supplies or in the instructions or in the equipment, then we're going to cause massive issues with a lot of people, issues with health. So instead of being a benefit, this is going to be a, a harm to people who are using it. Also, people don't use quality checks. You know, they believe that once they do manufacturing is going to function, but the reality is that these systems, when you make them, there are some percentage that has errors, operated errors or random errors. So by doing quality checks on the final product, people can see if there are any type of potential failure or potential flaw, or potentially, the things are, the material had a broken component. Even in the shipping, if people produce good systems but they don't package the systems in a proper way, then when it gets to the final user, maybe it's broken or maybe it's contaminated. So even shipping and distribution needs to be controlled, needs to be assessed about the risk and about the conditions that we need to have the device shipped. I remember also another case where a nutritional company that I was, consulting for, they had some materials, bulk materials, like the actual pills in bulk. They bought that from New York, but they failed in specifying the temperature of the shipping, package. So when in one of those occasions they bought thousands of dollars in pills, but the manufacturer sent those through a normal truck. And when they got here to Florida, it was totally damaged because it was so hot that the pills, they got damaged. And the original suppliers didn't want to respond because he said, "Yeah, I gave you that in a truck. You were in charge of your shipping, not me." So those are problems that we see every day in the manufacturing of healthcare products, nutritional, pharmaceuticals, many issues. Um, so let me see. Lack of production records, no traceability is another way, people don't label products correctly. So if there is any recall, they don't have a way to know who has what. So they don't have production records, who manufactured what, when it was manufactured, when they receive the components, they don't have any idea. And that's because either they don't have a good quality management system, or the employees don't follow their quality management system, or there are not instructions, clear instructions. So when we, for example, are going to analyze a manufacturing company, it could be, let's say, food company, if we are going to do an evaluation of the quality management system, those are things that we need to take into account. Potential risk, contamination, equipment to measure environmental conditions, documents, shipping instructions. So there are many ways in which manufacturing companies can have can fail their products. And also lack of proper documentation, no internal audits and management review meetings. That's also another issue that, a lot of companies related to healthcare, they don't do audits on time or do management review to analyze how the system is behaving. And this is important to do internal audits because that's the only way to make sure that every aspect of the operation is being controlled, is being done in the proper way. So that's why we need a system and standard to operate to ensure quality. In this example, we see an actual patient that received a lot of radiation because the medical device, the ionizing, system, it had failures, and the operator believed or thought that this was that was the machine was not working, but he fired multiple times on the patient, and and the patient got burned. 4 months later, he died because of the injuries. But that was caused by the failure in the medical device, and also because the operator did not follow instructions or the instructions were not clear. Anyway, so why we need a system and standard to operate to reduce risk. Risk is always present, but we need to make sure that the risk is analyzed and reduced to the minimum. Also, why we need a system to operate and to ensure quality? Because we need to ensure clinical benefit. We need to reduce risk, but we need to maximize clinical benefit. We need to make sure that the devices or the products that the manufacturing company ships, they are really good products, that they do the job. If it is a nutritional, we need to make sure that the nutritional does the work that it's supposed to do. Or if it is a medical device, or if it is a wheelchair, we don't want a device, for example, that, yeah, it functions but has a lot of risk. We want a device that has a lot of benefits but small risk, almost none. So these are two, let's say, byproducts of the quality management system. We need to make sure that we reduce risk, but maximum benefit. Also, another benefit of a quality management system is to ensure continuous improvement, because the technologies, the products need to, you know, be constantly developed. And so we need a system that helps us understand how people use the system, if they are getting the clinical benefit, if they are if there are not adverse events, how we can improve the product once it's out in the market. So we need continuous improvement. And a quality management system helps us to do continuous improvement. In which ways? In the design, for example, if we see a lot of adverse events, so we need to go back to the design and make sure that those are the weak areas are corrected. Um, Also, if we see that there are opportunities to improve or increase the clinical benefit, then we can implement design changes to the system so the products are maximum clinical benefit. So that's why we need to get feedback from the users, and to have a way to interact with the users to understand how they're using it, if they're getting the maximum benefit, if the risk is not great, if the risk is small or controlled. So those are things that we need to do in quality and continuous improvement.